Hello and welcome back to Storytime with Mrs. Haurigi. I'm Mrs. Haurigi. Today we will finish the book, The All-New Amelia. I sat with Leah at lunch today. We hadn't had lunch together for a long time, but Carly's mad at me, and there's never any room to sit next to Charisse, so when I saw an empty place next to Leah, I took it. She said I seemed different to her, but she couldn't say exactly how. I asked if it was a good different or a bad different. She looked at me a long time, then she said, I don't know. Did you cut your hair? I wanted to scream, no, I'm an all-new Amelia. More charming and wonderful than the old Amelia. But if I have to say that, then I guess I'm not acting like an all-new person, but the same old, same old. Except to Carly, who thinks I'm not the old Amelia, but not an improvement either. Just when I thought nothing could go right, I got a package in the mail. It was from Mako, my pen pal. Before opening it, I carefully took off the stamps to save them, because Japanese stamps are always so beautiful. I love Mako. He sends the best things and writes great letters, too. This time he wrote to me about Girls' Day, when beautiful dolls are displayed in people's homes to make girls' wishes come true. There is a Boys' Day, too, also with dolls, but the boys have carp streamers, and the girls don't. I don't know why. Because I'm a girl, he sent me 7 little dolls. They're the 7 gods of luck, so maybe they'll bring me good fortune. Maybe my wishes will finally come true. Charisse will like me, and Carly will stop being mad at me. I have a great idea. I may not have a pocket pal, but I've got a pocket doll. I can put a little lucky god in my pocket each day. And since there are 7 of them, I'll have one for each day of the week. It worked. My luck has changed. I found a real treasure at the dig today. At first I thought it was just a weed stuck in the dirt. But how could a weed be so far beneath the ground? I wondered. I carefully scraped around it, and the weed became a bunch of weeds. Only they weren't weeds at all. They were strands of plants woven into a basket. When I carefully lifted the whole thing out, I could see that even though it was only part of a basket, there were different colors on it. The colors made a pattern, another thing that could help Professor Viejo understand which tribe lived here. Best of all, even dirty, it was beautiful. I couldn't believe it. I was actually holding in my hands something a Native American had made hundreds of years ago. Some woman had carefully gathered reeds and woven them together to make it. Then she had probably carried grain in it and fed her family from it. This basket was part of someone's life, and whoever made it was an artist, weaving designs into the basket to make it special. I wanted to keep it, but I knew I had to give it to Professor Viejo. Everything we find will go on display at the local history museum. Before I gave my basket up, I wanted to show everybody. I thought Charisse would be as excited. I was her partner, so I showed her first, but she wasn't excited at all. She was just relieved. All she said was, good. We've finally found something. Now we can stop looking and get away from all this dreadful dust. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to find more things. Maybe there was another basket nearby, or part of this one, just waiting for me to discover them. I wanted to run and show Carly, and then I remembered that she was mad at me. So I just stood there a minute looking at my basket myself. I should have been really happy, really excited. And I was, but if Carly had been happy and excited with me, then things would have been perfect. Well, what are you waiting for? Charisse asked. Don't you need to turn that thing in? She was right. There was no reason to keep the basket anymore, so I plowed through all the kids around the professor and gave it to her. I didn't even wait for her to say good work. All I could think about was Carly. I thought if I rubbed my luck god, maybe it would bring me luck with her, but when I reached into my shirt pocket, it was gone. I may have found a basket, but I lost my lucky god. I looked for it everywhere. No luck. Of course, no luck. How could I have good luck without it? I spent the rest of the afternoon on my bed, thinking, maybe Carly's right. I thought I was just trying to improve myself, but all this stuff is getting in the way of what I already do well, what I used to do well. I haven't been drawing or writing stories. I'm not a good friend to Charisse or to Carly. I'm not doing anything right anymore. I really owe Carly an apology. She was right all along. At dinner, Mom actually called me Amelia. I'd given up hope she'd ever get my name right. But now, when I've decided I liked Amelia better, she says Amelia. I told her that was just a trial period and I'm really Amelia. Like she'd call me since I was a baby. I thought she'd be happy, but she went off on one of her long momisms. Then Cleo started in. It was a terrible dinner. At recess the next day, I went up to Carly and said I was sorry for acting like such a goof. I told her I was finished trying on styles since none of them fit. I'm ready to be me again. Most of all, I'm ready to be her friend. I missed her terribly, even though she was right in front of me. I guess I have changed after all. I've changed my mind about myself. I had to tell Nadia there was no all new me, in case she was expecting some amazing transformation. I wrote her a long letter, about Charisse and Carly and all the stupid things I tried. I hope she doesn't think I'm stupid too. I felt a lot better once I got that letter out. Writing always does that for me. I'd forgotten how much it helps. No matter what, I promised myself I'd never stop writing and drawing again. They're much too important parts of myself to lose. At the dig, I didn't even try to be nice to Charisse. I mean, I wasn't mean. I was my regular self nice. Not that fake, super sweet, nicey nice. And Charisse didn't seem to mind. At least she didn't act any different, and I felt tons better because I could relax and just be me. So that part was better, but I still didn't find my lucky god. You would think that if I could find stuff from 100 years ago, I could find something from a few days ago. It'd probably take an archaeologist decades from now to discover it. Mrs. Busby made an announcement on Friday. We had worked really hard on the excavation, and so had lots of other kids. Now our time was up, and the city wanted to thank us. We were all invited to a celebration on Monday. The mayor would be there and a band, and we would all get an official certificate for doing our part. I was so excited I couldn't wait for Monday. Usually it's Friday. I'm eager for not Monday. I wrote to Mako. I'm in a writing mood lately, and told him about all the work we'd done. I promised to send him a photo so he can see the basket I found, and I thanked him for the 7 lucky gods. I said a lucky god had even helped me find my basket. I didn't tell him it was lost now. That would be bad luck. Anyway, even with only 6 gods, I still feel lucky. On Monday, no one could settle down. We were so eager for the celebration. Finally, it was time to go, and we all started walking to the dig. I wanted to go with Carly, but Mrs. Busby paired us with our work partners, so I had to walk with Charisse. Not that I don't like Charisse, but now that Carly's not mad at me, I really wanted to be with her. I didn't want her to think I liked Charisse more. The celebration was terrific. The mayor was there, there were lots of speeches. Well, that part was boring. And reporters from a local TV station interviewed people and took pictures. It felt very important, but there was a fun part too, with the band playing music and cookies and punch and lots of balloons. Everyone got a certificate, just like Mrs. Busby said we would. I'm putting mine on my bulletin board, but the best part was a complete surprise. Just when the last kid had given a certificate, the owner of the lot came on stage to talk. The crowd went wild. Everyone cheered and whistled and clapped. A crowd of reporters mobbed the owner, and the band started playing a polka. It was great. I was drinking punch with Carly, looking at the display of all the things we found when Charisse came up to me. She looked right at me, plain old Amelia, not the all-new, improved kind, and she gave me a big smile. I couldn't believe it. Charisse was so friendly. I kept thinking, this is it. This is what you wanted. But I didn't care about Charisse anymore. I mean, she's nice, but she's no Carly. What I really wanted was to do was show Carly my find, and I wanted to do it without Charisse. I wasn't rude or anything. I just smiled back and said, yeah, good work. And when Charisse went to get some more punch, I took Carly to show her the basket. It did look beautiful, especially now that it was all cleaned. Carly loved it. I do too. It still feels like my basket somehow. Carly said it was cool that I was probably the first person to see it in 100 years. I hadn't thought about that. After seeing my basket, Carly said she'd found a treasure too. She reached in her pocket and pulled out my lucky god. I couldn't believe it. We both started talking at once. Me telling how I looked everywhere. Her telling how it must have rolled down the slope and into the pit where she was digging. Since it had gotten dirty, she thought it was something that had been buried for a while, but she knew it wasn't ancient, or she would have turned it into Professor Viejo. I couldn't stop grinning. I guess my lucky god knew who my true friend was all this time. Carly and I walked home together, just like old times. It had been a perfect day. The celebration, finding my lucky god, and best of all, being with my best friend again. Everything felt just right, even being me in my old, comfortable way. And finally, I felt like writing a story again. The Who Am I story. There once was a girl who grew up without ever once seeing herself in a mirror. She had no idea what she looked like. She only knew what she felt like, from the inside out. She didn't know how her voice sounded to other people. She only knew how it sounded to herself, and she was happy that way. Until one day she went to a carnival and saw all the funhouse mirrors. She saw herself stretched out, squashed down, pulled sideways, and all wiggly-waggly. Nothing she saw matched how she saw herself in her head. It was like a nightmare. Who was she really? She couldn't tell. She didn't know anymore. She decided she needed to find a regular mirror, not a funhouse one. Then she would see what she looked like. She would know who she was. But the guess your weight game, there was an ordinary mirror. She was nervous, but she went up to it and saw a girl looking back at her. She looked into the girl's eyes and smiled a big smile. There she was, herself, and she liked what she saw. The end. Thank you so much for joining me. Please like this video and subscribe below. Bye-bye.